Welcome, everybody, to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast show with myself, Aaron, and Tom. And 2 years ago, when Tom and I set out to start this podcast, one thing that we really wanted to do was to find an up-and-coming talent that people could get behind and bring notoriety for that talent. And on this week's episode, we think we've got somebody. It's the stunner, Emily Jaye. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Doing pretty good. So let's start right there because I mentioned an up-and-comer. You're someone who's now starting to get bookings, and you've got some already lined up for the end of the year, which is very exciting. And I know that this is a process that you've been trying to get going, and with COVID, things kind of took a pause for a little bit. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your overall feelings as you're now starting to get those bookings.
It's crazy to me because I grew up wanting to be a wrestler. My cousin is the one who actually got me into it. And he used to be a worker and he used to bring me to shows. And then I started to really like it and enjoy it. And I was like, I set my mind and was like, this is what I want to do. So I saved for a while and I went and trained at Flatbacks Wrestling School in Florida over the summer this year. Absolutely amazing school, amazing trainers, Shawn and Tyler Breeze, absolutely amazing. It was a very big step I had to take. I moved away, states away from where I've always known, and spent my birthday by myself when I was in Florida. I didn't get to see my family for 2 months. It was a lot, but it's something that I had to do to pursue my dreams like this.
Now, how has that been for your family? Do they give you a hard time about it, or are they pretty supportive?
They give me a hard time. They're like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, I just spent 2 months in Florida. I'm kind of dying. In Florida heat, working my butt off in unimaginable heat, rain. It didn't matter, for hours on end, to make sure I can be the best I can be and get trained by the best people.
And you mentioned Flatbacks and Shawn and Tyler Breeze, and I'd be hard, to pick two other people that maybe I would want to be trained by if I got a list of schools. But what really drew you to them?
So I was a very big Tyler Breeze fan growing up. And when I saw they had a school, I was following them from the second they opened the school. And I was like, I want to go to the school at least once in my career. Like, this is what I want to do. And it was the perfect timing for me to do it now. I'm 19 years old. I'm at the best level of physical aspects. I'm at the best I can be. And I just felt like it was the perfect timing for me to do this. And I've heard so many great reviews from Flatbacks. I was like, this is a school I need to go to. And it was absolutely amazing.
Now, did you have a hard time trying to take direction from someone that you thought so fondly of, or was it a pretty easy transition? Because I think that, for me, that would be really hard to try to train under somebody who I grew up watching and was a huge fan of.
It was very difficult at first, but then, you realize it's all tough love. Pretty much all of it is tough love. They'll scream at you, but they'll also be there for you. I had something scary happen to me at training, and Breeze was right there beside me the entire situation. And I was like, thank you. Like, this means a lot. And pretty much they're very tough on you, but they'll always be there for you at the end of the day.
So now that you're starting to get some bookings, though, do you feel like that with yourself and the character, what is something that you are still needing to really work on? Is it just to actually get out there and actually have matches, or are you still trying to learn through watching videos and things of that nature?
It's mostly learning through video. I was very easygoing in the ring because I had a cheer background, so it was pretty easy for me to flip around and flip my body and be what I had to do in the ring. But talking is something I'm never really good at, and I was absolutely terrible at promos. I will never forget promo day. It was absolutely horrible. But I feel like going back, watching tapes, and understanding what is actually happening, especially now that I've been through the entire process. I know what I need to look for in a match. It's going back, watching videos, understanding like the art of the sport we're in.
So is there anything that you like draw inspiration from to kind of like make it more of a comfortable thing when you're doing a promo?
I pretty much think of myself as like Sharpay Evans. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even me right now. It's okay. I might be using my name, but I'm not me. I'm pretty much a stuck up person who will do anything to win.
Well, and that was my next question, because a lot of our guests say that their character is nothing but themselves turned up to 11. So you're telling us that you're the complete opposite of your actual character.
Pretty much. I was talking to a lot of people and they're like, you pretty much want to be yourself turned up to a 10, but you also want to have something different about it. So I just made sure I turned myself into the person who was making fun of me in high school for liking wrestling. I turned myself into her and was like, you know what? This is how I'm going to be. I'm going to bring her attitude and all her negligence to this character. And it'd be so much easier that way because I've been through the situation.
Wow, that's interesting, because I think that's something a lot of people can resonate with, because I can remember always watching wrestling and people would always kind of like roll their eyes. Me and my buddies would watch it. We get the eyes rolled to us. I'm sure Tom's had that happen to him before too. People roll the eyes. And it's just so weird, because people will watch TV shows and that's basically kind of what it is, except for we're able to go to events and see our TV shows kind of play out in front of us a little bit. So I think wrestling's more of a real life aspect than when I'm watching a television show or an actual movie.
Exactly. I completely agree.
Yeah, when you talk about TV shows and there's 30 takes on one scene, and you guys are going out there and you get one take to do it right, and it takes a whole lot more to do that, and I think a lot of people miss out on that. And if they're not, hopefully they're watching these kind of podcasts and things that maybe they can connect with somebody, because I really do think wrestling is for everyone if they give it a
yeah.
So
it's definitely for everybody. It's something I didn't know that I'd see myself doing when I was younger. I thought I was going to grow up and become a teacher, and nowhere near that right now.
Well, and here's the truth. I feel like, maybe I'm wrong. Are you looking to take some college classes as well to have something to kind of fall back on? Or are you just going full speed ahead right now with this just to be?
So I was in college this past year. I discovered I was like, I don't do school well. I've never really liked school, but I made it through. And I just took a gap semester for this semester. And probably next semester I'll go back and see how everything's going. But right now, I just wanted to focus on wrestling and get all my bookings lined up, make sure everything's okay and in line to see if I can handle school on top of it.
And you mentioned your bookings. So are you being picky with the bookings that you are taking? Are you trying to stay more centralized, closer to home type bookings? Or are you really open to just about anything right now?
I'm open to just about anything. I have lots of people messaging me. It's crazy. We have people messaging me about signings all the way from like New York to LA currently. And it's absolutely crazy that people want me and I still haven't even had my first match. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you for believing in me. But it's absolutely crazy. I have a lot of stuff lined up till probably around Mania.
That's got to be super exciting. But does it also make you nervous as well?
Very nervous. I'm a very anxious person. I have very bad anxiety, and wrestling is pretty much an escape for me. I've always found wrestling as my escape, and going into this in Florida, I had so many breakdowns during training. I was like, is this really meant for me? And then I realized I'm not only doing this for myself, but I'm doing this for the people that actually believed in me throughout this. And I've always been pretty anxious, but I have a very close support system and they're always there for me.
So what was like the toughest thing that you've done so far in training that you were able to overcome, but it was tough?
Definitely talking. It was definitely the promos. They pretty much break you down and they'll just build you right back up. It's pretty much like the Dusty Rhodes saying, if you give them a broken toy, it's not broken. You just need to shine it up a little bit. And that's exactly what they did. And I really appreciated it. And it was absolutely amazing, but I was terrified. I was crying, even though I'm not a very big crier. I was crying. I was so nervous. I hate speaking, and especially with people like that right in front of you. And it's pretty much they're judging you and they're like, do we like you or not? And it's very hard and very difficult, but that was something I overcame. And I'm very proud of myself for overcoming that. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? We can turn on the television any Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever. And there are people on the main rosters that have trouble with promos. And one of the main reasons for that is because they're scripted. They're not allowing them to kind of be themselves. So do you find it easier whenever you are able to kind of put your own twist on it, or someone's telling you what to say?
I think I'm definitely better if I have a script. It's easier for me to like play off of it, because yes, I can add probably like a few things in there, but get it approved first. But it's very easy for me to memorize stuff instead of going right off the bat. I just did something in North Carolina with this company called AML, and I became a backstage interviewer as soon as I walked in there. And I was like, okay. And it was questionable to say the least, because I was nervous and had nothing to play off of.
Yeah, I think that could be a trying situation to be in if you're, especially if you're not familiar with the surroundings.
Yes, very.
Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is also that you're a huge women's advocate for pro wrestling. And, you know, we talked a little bit before you came on air about your relationship with Ella Jaye, who's one of our favorite colleagues that we've had on our show. And, you know, we love her absolutely. But right now, what do you think women's wrestling is actually missing?
They're missing the opportunity to show what they have. That's what I feel like. Especially with there being so many women's wrestlers. Yes, we have stuff like all women shows and stuff like that, but it only happens once every year, maybe. I feel like it should be a full-on series, weekly episode. People love the women, and we need to see it everywhere. I see what Maria Kanellis is doing right now with Wrestling Army. It's absolutely amazing, and I hope to be on that one day soon. But I really think we're missing the opportunity to show what we have.
Now, do you try to keep up with like the major promotions and what the women are doing?
I try my best to. It's very difficult when I'm working, but I try my best to.
So is there anything that stands out to you that you're seeing on TV that you think they need to be doing differently besides just giving them more time?
Oh gosh, probably the AEW situation. Definitely the AEW situation. We won't get into too much detail about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent over in AEW, and they get featured, I feel like, sporadically sometimes. But I really think if they spent some extra effort in that division, it could be some of the main storylines on the program.
Exactly. I completely agree.
Yeah, you know, Tom and I just got back from the NWA 74 show. And last year I was at NWA 73 and they had the Empower show.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And nothing, you know, special thanks again to NWA for allowing us to come cover this past weekend.
My friends were there.
I felt like something was missing. I felt like, you know, Camille and Taya tore the house down.
Yes.
And then you had the Mildred Burke, which there was a lot of really good workers in that as well. But I felt like the crowd wasn't invested in it. And one of the reasons why is because they just said, hey, here's the Mildred Burke. Build this up on TV. Make it mean something. And I get so frustrated. And, I hate to say it sometimes. Sometimes the women are our favorite guest on the show.
Exactly.
And we're rooting for them 100%. And I don't know why all of a sudden, because I felt like we were on this high when Sasha and Bailey, and Charlotte, and Becky first came in.
Yep.
And now we've taken this nosedive again, and we're trying to crawl back up. And it could have been the pandemic, maybe put a little damper on some things and some plans for some. But we've got to get back to featuring these women, whether it's on AEW Dark. Like, man, nothing makes me madder than them bringing in somebody like a Danny Moe or somebody and they lose in 2 minutes. No, this is your chance. Let's show everybody what she's got. Let's make this competitive. You don't have to have 20 matches on Dark. You could have 20 matches on Dark and make it worth something.
Exactly. I completely agree. Women should get more time, especially in situations like that with AEW. I feel like most of them are just squash matches and they get probably one move in and that's about it. But I really think women do deserve more time.
Now, when you're setting your goals for the upcoming 6 months, 12 months, is there any talents out there that you are really hoping that you can get in the ring with?
Oh, gosh. Probably Ella Envy. Ella Envy is a very good friend of mine. She is one half of the NWA Tag Team Champions right now. Love her. I would love to get in the ring with her. And if I'm shooting for the stars, definitely Liv Morgan. That is my girl. She's literally like a sister to me. I would love to get in the ring with her.
I knew you were going to say Liv. So this is a question. Take your bias out of it a little bit. Okay. How do you think she's being booked right now on WWE TV? Because to me, I feel like they're missing the boat with her right now. Even
absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I understand they're trying to build her up as like the underdog that finally got the championship, but the way they're booking her right now is not well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Booking her as the underdog is great, but then once she won it, it needs to change a little bit, in my opinion.
Exactly.
She needs to own it, and they need to own that she's the champion. And I still kind of feel like they're wishy-washy with her.
I hate it for her because she's such an amazing wrestler and such an amazing person in general. And it sucks that they're booking her this way, but hopefully she beats Shayna on Saturday. Right. And make this better.
Well, and that's the thing too. I felt like her cashing in on Ronda was the big mistake. She should have cashed in on Bianca, and I think maybe the story of her title run could have been a little bit different because Ronda's supposedly this tremendous badass. She's a fighter and skilled and a multi-time champion. And it came across as a fluke where if she would beat perhaps Bianca or something, maybe we're not going that route with it.
Especially, I always think Liv should have won at day one against Becky Lynch. That match was absolutely amazing. I always go back and watch it to study it. I still think she should have won then because Becky is an amazing wrestler and they had such a good storyline going. It would have just made perfect sense for her to win, but some things just don't happen at the right time.
Who is somebody else right now that maybe somebody may not know that you've got your eye on as a talent that everybody needs to pay a little bit more attention to? You mentioned Ella Envy, but who's somebody else?
Gosh, probably Brittany Jade. I love Brittany Jade.
And she's been getting a lot of love on AEW here lately.
Oh, yes. I love her.
But again, it's another one of those situations where we're not even seeing the best of what she can do. So it's kind of hard to take her kind of serious on those aspects when you're not allowing her to.
I completely agree. Hopefully they'll show her a little bit more because I know they do a little bit more of longer matches when they shoot in Universal. Instead of before a show, they do have a little bit longer matches when they're in Universal shooting. But I completely agree. She needs to be able to show her talent. She's such an amazing wrestler, and she's so young, and I'm so excited for what the future holds for her.
So speaking of the future, so what's the next thing for you?
The next thing for me, oh gosh, I might have something coming up very soon with a certain company that is coming to my state in October. But I just need to confirm everything. I might be making a television debut soon before anything else.
Everybody's going to be running and trying to Google and figure out who's coming to where, right?
Yes.
Everyone's trying to figure that out. You know, when I look at everything this weekend, you know, and when this airs, it will already have happened. But I want to know, when you're looking at All Out, Clash at the Castle, and whenever we are looking at Worlds Collide, I want to get your picks for the women's matches.
Okay.
This weekend, okay?
Okay.
That way we can see, once all this plays out, how right you were and how wrong you were. And
Oh,
I want to start off with, let's start off with Clash at the Castle.
Okay.
Liv versus Shayna, your pick.
Liv, always.
Now, is she going to get a convincing win, or is it going to be kind of a flukish win?
Hopefully a convincing win. Hopefully.
I don't have faith in them. I don't have faith in them.
We don't.
Don't have faith in them. And then you got, I guess we're calling them Damage Control.
Okay.
Against Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka.
Definitely Damage Control. I have a soft spot for Dakota and Bailey. They're amazing. And I'm excited to see Bailey get in the ring again. So excited.
I think Bailey is going to be the one that takes the belt from Bianca.
Oh, yes. 110%.
Yeah, I would think so.
And then we go over to AEW, and Jade Cargill right now is on fire. I mean, I do really like what they're doing with her a lot. But she's taking on Athena. Is Athena in Jade Cargill's undefeated streak?
I don't think she'll beat her. I don't think so. I think they're just going to run with this.
So,
I don't think she'll lose it for a hot second.
Who do you think is going to be the person that takes Jade out eventually then?
Oh, gosh.
Who would you book? Who would Emily J book to finally be the person to take Jade Cargill's undefeated streak?
Chris Statlander. 110%.
Awesome. Yeah. And then we've got an interim title. Ugh, hate that word. But it's okay. It's whatever. And we're going to have Toni Storm take on Dr. Britt Baker, take on Sheeta, take on Jamie Hayter. I think I know where you're going to hope wins this one. If you're anything like your buddy Ella, I know who you're hoping would win it. So who's it going to be?
I'm going with Jamie.
See, I like that pick, honestly. I would like a total swerve here. I think everyone's expecting Toni to win it. But I think if Jamie wins it, then you get the jealousy from Britt, and then you can go with that storyline for a while.
Exactly. It's perfect.
I could also see Britt stealing a win from Jamie somehow in there. It's not really stealing because they're all in the match, but Jamie doing her finisher, and then somehow Britt getting it, and then it splits them up. Put the heat on Britt.
Yes.
Now, we go to Worlds Collide. And they're going to unify some titles here. Okay. So we've got Miko Satomura, we got Blair Davenport, and we got Mandy Rose.
I'm going with my girl Mandy.
I think Mandy's going to win it too. And it's so crazy how good she's gotten over the last year.
NXT was the best thing that could have happened to her.
Yes. I think there was a time whenever the cuts were happening, we're like, man, it's going to be a shocker if Mandy Rose don't get cut. You know, in a way, we're just kind of thinking that.
Yeah.
She was at NXT, and she may be one of the top 5 women's wrestlers of the year.
Oh, 110%. She's absolutely amazing.
All right. And then I think that there is Doudrop and Nikki ASH versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Who you got in that one?
Katana. I don't see Doudrop and Nikki winning.
Yeah. I just think some of that stuff's going to kind of be chalk a little bit. But I wanted to get your opinion because I know you're a big-time wrestling enthusiast and definitely for the women. And so just kind of curious. I thought I knew where you were going to go with a few of those picks, but.
Yes. I'm pretty easy to read with predictions.
Hey, if it wasn't for social media, I would have never known who y'all's favorites are. Let me just tell you. But I knew Ella, and if she's watching this, I knew Ella is all aboard that Jamie train.
Yes.
So I figured you kind of were as well. And Jamie just keeps dodging her every time Ella gets to go live, and Ella's about to have a heart attack over it. So Ella, maybe if she becomes the champion, she'll be on every show, and you'll be able to see her finally.
Exactly.
Emily, before we let you go, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Okay, everybody can find me at Emily J Pro on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything. You'll find me at Emily J Pro.
Awesome. And do you have any merchandise coming?
Very soon. I still have to get the store finalized, but I do have merch coming.
Awesome. Everyone, make sure you get out and give her a follow on all her social media platforms. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're everything that this show represents, up and comers, and us bringing notoriety about that. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. For myself and Tom, make sure y'all are doing what you need to do. And listen, I can't believe it. You know, our newest, most watched video now is our interview with Tyrus from NWA. It has overtaken Jey Uso and Thunder Rosa. And nothing against Tyrus. I just didn't think that was going to happen that quick within a 4-day period, but it has. We want to make sure we do send out a special thanks again to the NWA for allowing us that opportunity. And do what you need to do. You know, make sure you are staying safe so you can go out and watch all the great talent perform, and continue to hit that subscribe button. Our subscribers have gone up tremendously in the last 2 weeks, and we appreciate all the love that you all have given us. And again, if you're bored, and I hate to say that, pick up a copy of my book, Independent Road: A Wrestler's Journey, and Loving Casey Nelson. We appreciate all the support as always. For myself, Tom, and Emily, everyone, thank you and have a good night.